I wanted to offer really a warm welcome to everyone on this call. I'm really excited and looking forward to really what is a great lineup of talks throughout the next 2 days. If you could please advance the slide. So as Alenia mentioned, I have spent nearly 3 decades in the pharmaceutical industry myself, but in the development organization of Eli Lilly and Company. But the commonality that I have with my background and those of you in discovery sciences is that, you know, the deep appreciation that we have for the CCDC, which has really served the worldwide community in advancing both chemistry and crystallography. I think we're all familiar with the excellent, highly curated three-dimensional data that CCDC provides, but please understand that CCDC has been very active over many years to help develop both knowledge-based solutions to accelerate discovery and development of new medicines, as well as new materials. CCDC has also been a preferred partner for many to partner with to advance structural science, and the tools and the science that has come out of CCDC over many years, I believe really has inspired a new generation of structural chemists, both through outreach and education, in addition to the research. If you could please advance the slide. I think that it's really helpful for any presentation really coming from the CCDC to draw upon the inspiration of Olga Kennard, from which the CCDC wouldn't be possible. And that really stems from her passionate belief that using data, the collective use of data, can transcend the results of any single experiment and absolutely lead to the discovery of new knowledge. And that's really the cornerstone and the heart of what we believe. And if you can please advance the next slide. That's really led to the Cambridge Structural Database with its more than 1.1 million structures and growing. And of course, in drug discovery, we have really 2 fantastic databases at our disposal, and the power of combining what we learned from small molecule crystal structures in the CSD along with proteins in the PDB has really transformed how drug molecules are designed and developed. Next slide, please. So I think we understand in the protein database that we have some very relevant and direct data that can be used to study protein ligand interactions, for example. But the CSD also has not just ordinary molecules, but molecules that are so important to all of mankind. And I really like this slide that has been compiled that highlights out of the 200 top-selling drugs, just how many have crystal structures in the public domain, be it in the CSD or the PDB. And I would venture to guess that some of the few remaining structures that are listed in white are probably have structures solved, just aren't in the public domain, and so we're waiting for them to arrive. But these are 2 fantastic repositories that teach us not just how molecules self-assemble in their own crystals, but alongside or within proteins. And if you can please advance to the next slide. I want to highlight just 2 main areas, and that is looking at conformational space and molecular shape, where the collective information from these databases is derived, as well as information on molecular interactions, which and I'll speak a little bit more detail in a couple minutes. But if you can please advance to the next slide. Many of you will be familiar with the data suite that CCDC, and next slide please, offers, and hopefully you will see some fantastic applications of some of these tools that have evolved over many years to interrogate interactions of small molecules and large molecules, to search structures, as well as to automate and pipe out different workflows in this space. And so hopefully we'll see throughout the presentations in this user meeting the application of these tools in action. Next slide, please. So I just want to say just a couple words about, 2 of the main applications of the discovery tools. And the first one is for and when you in fact see strained rapes. I think we can recognize that, you know, it's really preferred to understand molecular conformations, but that conformational behavior isn't always reliably described by standard force fields, especially when you have things like pi delocalization, which creates kind of an interesting balance between the effects of conjugation and steric effects. And while you may prefer, you know, QM calculations, they are expensive, and sometimes it's just preferred to go to the experimental data in the databases rather than performing QM calculations to understand torsional or conformational preferences, torsional barriers, and when you in fact see strained or unusual geometries. Next slide, please. So in addition to the molecular shape, of course, we're interested in the interactions. We want to know when we are proposing a molecule or proposing to make changes to a preferred molecular structure that the interactions that we are anticipating are in line with the preferences of the groups that are involved. But it's more than just the protein, small molecule or ligand interaction. The shape, of course, fantastic applications in recent years where the Cambridge Structural Database has been used to probe and model metal coordination, to look at the role of water in binding sites. And as we start looking at seamlessly transforming from discovery into development, where we start dealing with the problem of low aqueous solubility, we can find ways to disrupt crystal packing, which oftentimes can be used to enhance the aqueous solubility. Next slide, please. But it's not about the individual tools anymore. As we move to digital first paradigms, we're looking at applying each of the tools into larger workflows. And in drug discovery, there are ample opportunities from target selection all the way through lead optimization and beyond. We are proposing a molecule to be looking at the impact of different molecular structures, conformations, geometries, and interactions to help us streamline this process. And this is really underpinning a larger motivation or proposing to make changes to a direction that we have to move toward digital design centers, where we start taking the individual tools and building these workflows that can provide us the database directional information that help us ultimately do the right experiments in the laboratory. And if you can please advance to my final slide. I just want to say, yes, I am new to CCDC and really excited to be here. CCDC is really at the center of the structural universe, and it's exciting to be a structural scientist in this day and age when we're seeing both from the large molecule and the small molecule side really an explosion of data. And so as I look forward to working with colleagues within CCDC and beyond, we will continuously be looking for better tools to do better science. We're going to be advancing the science that we do that ultimately link the structures that we design to the properties we want. And that is both in molecule space as well as in material space. This is a fantastic time to be, you know, a warehouse of highly curated and refined data. Now that we have access to increasingly powerful high-performance computing resources, including cloud computing, as well as methods like artificial intelligence and machine learning, which we think will help really transform where science is. And of course, we really continue to want to partner with groups worldwide to help develop, if you will, the scientific ecosystem that we think is going to be required to realize our vision of digital design. And so with that, the next slide is just my final slide. I wanted to really thank you for all being here and really look forward to these upcoming talks. Thank you.